And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
All right, flying weather for Friday morning. Good VFR interior Alaska, all the way into Bristol Bay, as well as Norton Sound across the Seward Peninsula there into the northwest coast. IFR, northern Bering Sea, all the way down to about Atka, westward to Amchitka Island. And some IFR here along the east side of Kodiak Island, mostly VFR for the southeast coast. And pretty good conditions hold into the afternoon here for the southeast coast as well. And marginal VFR sliding up into Prince William Sound, maybe Resurrection Bay and southern Cook Inlet areas back to Kodiak Island, with the IFR remaining off the coast. IFR off the Arctic coast as well, although clipping Point Hope, Cape Lisburne possibly. And a narrow band of IFR from Nunivak Island just southeast of the Pribilofs down to Atka, eastward into the Fox Islands. And for Saturday morning, band of IFR here over the eastern Bering Sea down to the eastern Aleutians and toward False Pass. And a couple of more zones out farther to the west. The interior looking really good with full VFR, marginal VFR, southern Cook Inlet, Resurrection Bay, Prince William Sound. IFR, Kodiak Island into the Gulf, and mostly VFR for the southeast coast. And mostly VFR conditions hold, especially over the inland channels and to the north for the Panhandle, but marginal VFR for, say, Port Alexander down across Prince of Wales Island, on up into Prince William Sound, Resurrection Bay again, southern Cook Inlet, IFR east side of Fognak and Kodiak Islands. Otherwise, the Arctic coast areas of marginal VFR. And for the Bering Sea, a couple of zones of IFR out in that area. And for the passes for Anatuvik and Adigan, open again tomorrow with VFR flying through both passes on either approach. Lake Clark and Merrill, in fact, the entire Alaska range will be VFR. Another day for Friday, rainy, windy. Isabel and Mentasta in the Matanuska Valley, VFR. For Tanita, VFR. And for Portage, VFR. Chilkoot and White, VFR. Freezing levels here at about 10,000 feet over the eastern interior and down across the Panhandle there. And with that low pressure area slowly moving northward, still a big area of cooler air out here, about 4,000 feet covering the Bering Sea, rising up to about 6,000 to 8,000 feet down toward the Aleutians. From there, taking a look at icing, a pretty good batch of possible considerable moderate rime icing sliding up toward the southwest coast, extending back toward the Alaska Peninsula, and also for the Pribilof Islands. Otherwise, nothing of any significance here over the interior or the southeast coast, even the Gulf of Alaska. Jet streams showing high pressure at 33,000 feet right over the Gulf of Alaska here, extending up into the interior again. And on the west side of that ridge, in between the high and the low here, we've got southerly winds at about 60 to 70 knots there. Not too bad for this elevation, coming back around to the north there. Farther to the west, 9,000 feet, same pattern. South to north flow here along the west coast, eastern Bering Sea, 40 to 50 knots. Northerlies at about 40 knots for the western Bering to the Aleutians. Light over the interior, and 30 knots here right off the southern coast of the Panhandle. 9,000 feet, much lighter winds here at that elevation for the southeast coast. Interior, light variable winds, high pressure over south central Alaska, and keep winds light all the way up to the Arctic Ocean. Otherwise, still looking at pretty good southerlies here for the Alaska Peninsula. Pribilofs up along the southwest coast, maybe as high as 35 knots. Turbulence-wise, look for possible light to isolated moderate turbulence. Bering Strait, St. Lawrence Island, Nunivak Island, as well as the southwest coast, Alaska Peninsula, Unalaska Island, and possibly Adak to Amchitka.